Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeXchange weekend webinar. So first, we'll go over um, thoughts of what happened with the markets last week. When it comes to recent market activity and the weakness we've been seeing for the past 3 weeks, as we've been saying throughout our webinars and even throughout the news desk, we're focusing on a few certain areas in the markets that could add to that volatility. First, we're watching US dollar strength, which we speak about on a daily basis in the news desk, and we've been discussing that a lot on the weekend webinars. We're also keeping a close eye on the yield market. We believe the yield market is it gives a directional move to markets. We've been seeing that strength in the yields and the 10-year yield, the 2-year yield, breaking above 3.5% for the first time since 2007. So we're keeping a close eye on the yield market as we believe it does dictate moves in the overall indices. So we're watching that US dollar, and we're keeping a close ear and eye on headlines coming out of Europe regarding their energy markets. Keep in mind, we are going into the winter season, so we're going to be seeing what kind of impact that will have on markets on the energy side on Europe. Going into the winter season, just to give you an idea and a glimpse of what we talk about. Speaking to other traders overseas, when it comes to prices in regards to gas alone, it's a number where in America we talk about $4 or $5 of gas. They're over there paying $8, $9, $10. So on the euro side, so it's something to keep an ear and an eye out in regards to that whole energy quote unquote crisis of what's going on over in Europe. We'll be watching that, especially with these Gazprom headlines to end last week, and see how that impacts markets going into next week. Friday, we also saw the employment report, saw a higher payroll number, higher than the market did expect. The participation rate moved higher. Which traders saw as a positive for the Fed mindset. More people have rejoined the labor markets. So traders do believe that report gave a little leeway to the Fed in regards to their recent hawkish tone. But also keep in mind, as we hear and listen to the Fed speak in the past week or two, lately, their mindset is not based off of employment. They're basing their mindset and rate decision on inflation and how inflation is impacting the U.S. consumer. So when it comes to people were discussing a Goldilocks number on Friday, the question we had is, why did the markets move such a big move initially in the morning when clearly the Fed is dictating their next move based solely, in our opinion, from what we've been listening on inflation? So we'll keep a close eye on that, especially this week. We do have some Fed speakers that will be waiting and watching. We also have Fed Chair Powell speaking this week. He'll be speaking on Thursday of this week at the Cato Institute Annual Monetary Conference. As well as this week, we'll be waiting for some economic data points. With the earnings season basically over, we're watching economic data points and Fed speak going into the FOMC meeting on September 21st. This week on the agenda, we'll be watching the Beige Book, the ISM Index, Consumer Credit, keeping a close eye on as well on the energy side with the EIA report that is scheduled on Wednesday. Correction, that is rescheduled to Thursday due to the holiday we have tomorrow. So we'll be keeping a close eye on some of those economic data points this week, as well as Fed speakers. Members, as always, keep in mind, and the markets are closed tomorrow for Labor Day. The news desk will always be up and running, as always, to get yourself ready for the Tuesday Open. So that's just a breakdown of our thoughts in regards to the recent activity we've been seeing in markets. Once again, we're keying in on three aspects of outside economic data in regards to 10-year yield, US dollar currency strength, as well as European headlines on energy. So taking a peek at this week, upcoming U.S. and world events that we'll be keeping a close ear and eye on. As always, Monday, markets are closed. So we do have some international headlines we'll be listening to. We have the Eurozone in Germany PMI composite final. We also have OPEC meeting begin. So we'll have some of those comments in the news desk on Monday if there are any market moving comments for the futures and into the Tuesday open. Tuesday, we have the RBA announcement. We have the US ISM Services Index. And overseas, keep in mind, that's when the UK Prime Minister Johnson is stepping down. Wednesday, we got the base book. We have some Fed speakers, Fed's Brainard and Barr. We also have the Bank of Canada announcement, Japan GDP, and the Apple event begins. Thursday, Fed speak Powell. We have Fed's Evans and Kashkari speaking. We also have Yellen, Treasury Secretary, speaking on the economic agenda. Thursday, we also have the ECB announcement. We have consumer credit, China CPI and PPI, and also the EU energy and finance ministers are meeting. So Thursday is a pretty eventful day. The whole week, even though we do have a day off on Monday, the whole week is an eventful week outside of any, since earnings season is basically coming to an end. On the economic data side, as well as the Fed speaker side, we do have a pretty eventful week. Friday, we have Fed speak Evans. Company events for the week, as always, top shareholder analyst calls. Well, anytime during those shareholder meetings or analyst calls are any updates or market moving for or a specific stock moving for that stock, we also provide updates in the news desk. As always, members, if you have a question or comment, you can always reach out to us on the Ask the Desk area. Conferences, we do see the conferences are building up. Wednesday and Thursday, we have a large list of conferences going on. You can shoot us an email or you can reach out to us via the Ask the Desk as well if you are have any questions in regards to any stock specifics that are presenting during these conferences. Economic calendar for the week. We'll go through the week of what we're looking at on the TradeXchange side. Tuesday, ISM services. Wednesday, as always, we have your MBA mortgage applications, getting an idea of how the mortgage markets are doing. We also have the base book at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The API data, which typically comes out on Tuesday, is scheduled on Wednesday for the day off on Monday. Wednesday as well, keep in mind, we do have 3 Fed speakers, Loretta Mester, Lyle Brainard, and Michael Barr. Thursday, we have Fed speak Powell right before the open at 9:10 a.m. Initial claims, as always. We have your nat gas and petroleum report. Keep in mind the petroleum report has been moved due to the day off on Monday. We're also going to keep a close eye on this consumer credit. We've been hearing a lot of headlines lately on the consumer credit side being built up on debt. So we'll keep it, see how that number comes out and or if that has any impact on markets. Taking a peek on Friday, we have Fed speak Charles Evans. And we have, as always, the Baker Hughes rig count. Earnings for the week, not much on the agenda. For all the, we do have GameStop, GME on Wednesday. We'll be waiting on that one to see on the momentum move plays. Thursday after market, we have DOCU, RH, and Zumi's ZUMZ. Friday, we have Kroger's KR. The fear and greed index. Last week, we were barely on the fear side. We saw a little more downtick on the fear around the 41 level going into this week. So as of right now, members, not seeing too much fear according to this fear and greed index. We'll see how that correlates into markets this week. Next up, weekly sector performance, all red on the week. Biggest area of weakness was in materials and technology. Even energy saw a drop. So we've been watching energy as one of the key areas that has been seeing strength as of late, but energy as well saw a drop. Not too much of a drop in utilities, healthcare, and financials. On the industry comparisons, we are seeing the recent 3-week downtick showing almost back to close to June levels. So we'll be keeping a close eye on any moves this week, especially on a shortened week with volume typically not existent. So we'll keep an eye on that in regards to indice comparisons. Target rate probabilities for the September meeting. Keep in mind on Friday, members, before that employment report, the 75 basis point level was above 70%. So we did see a downtick on the probability of a 75 basis point following that report. Currently on a 50 basis point, we're at 43%. On a 75 basis point, we are at 57%. Your 10-year treasury constant month maturity minus 2-year treasury is at minus spot 2. Year-to-date percent returns for the weekend. Watching nat gas take a little downtick. Across the board, we are seeing downtick. So nat gas, heating oil, even the VIX took a downtick following that the weak market activity last week. Crude oil, corn, wheat, one of the only few that did see an uptick on the week, and coffee down as well for the week, but still positive on the year. Weakness continuing in a lot of the other commodities. Silver down over 23%, copper down close to 23%, platinum down 15%. Cotton had a big move, was green last week, but down about 14 to 15% this week. So we've seen a lot of commodity moves as of late, as well as market weakness. So typically what we've seen in the past was energy strength with market weakness, but this time around, it was a complete broad-based decline. AAII Investor Sentiment Survey, the bullish continues to drop. They're at 21.9% as the bearishness pops above 50% at 50.4. So we are seeing a more bearish view in markets on the Investor Sentiment Survey. Sector Outlook Weekly, as always, energy utilities still green on the year. The rest, communication services down over 31% year to date. So we are seeing certain areas of this market showing a much greater weakness going into your fall and winter seasons. IPO lockup expirations, none scheduled for the week. IPOs, we've been watching these IPO markets. Some moves have been astronomical. I guess you can say 1,000% moves in a day. So we're watching this IPO market as well. You have JUNS, WLDS set to be released this week. We'll keep an eye on those release times. FDA calendar, a pretty busy day. Pretty busy week this week coming up. On Monday, we have MKD UTHR, a data presentation. Wednesday, we did see that volatility, but we are seeing that AdCom on Wednesday for AMLX. Thursday, RVNC, ALNY, and CARA. Friday, SPPI and PSTV. And Saturday, SWTX and CNCE. So those are some of the your biotechs that are set for data presentations, AdComs, and the PDUFA dates. So we're going to be jumping quickly into some charts. We present charts on a weekly basis. Typically, we always notate if we do any changes to the chart or if anything has been added or deleted. This week, we'll start off with the SMHs. No changes for the week in this chart. We mentioned last week that we've been trending right by support levels. That we saw that in a lot of charts, as you can see when we move forward as well. Once those support levels were broken, weakness ensued. The SMH is currently trading at 207.82. We have resistance at a higher end at 220 with support at 200. So you have a very large tradable range going on this SMH. Once this pattern was broken, we did see that weakness continue. On the SPYs, this was last week, right on support. No changes to the chart. So we closed last week right on support levels. Once that support level was broken, weakness ensued right to next level supports. Members, keep in mind, this was last week's chart. No changes to the chart. So in our opinion, this market is still a very technical market. Traded right to that 390 support level, bounced up, and closed at 392.24. So right now we're watching the 390 support, 405's initial short-term resistance with that 415 level here as a key resistance point. So we'll see how this reacts to the market this week. We'll see if that 390s level is broken. Keep in mind, we are watching a volume break. Once that volume break is shown, could see continued weakness. Next up, we have a weekly chart. We added this short-term downtrend. So we'll keep an eye if this downtrend continues into next week, or we do see a basing being built at this level of support. So that's your SPY on a weekly basis. Diamonds on a daily, levels being of level support right around the 305 levels that we're watching on the diamonds. XLE, this is a monthly chart just to give you an idea of how we're looking at monthly as well. We don't post a lot of monthlies because that's more of a long-term look, but we just wanted to add a little something extra this week when it comes to the fact that we do also watch these long-term plays, just to give us an indication on what or how the market is moving on a technical move. This is an XLE. So this is from 2008-9, basically a same level watch going on to our current markets. So we're watching this level to see if the moving averages as well coincide with a turnaround to the downside. So that's just a quick look at your XLEs on a monthly basis. IWM dailies, currently watching this level as well as we mentioned earlier on support on the IWMs. VIX as well, off the lows on Friday, did a test, interesting wise, did a test on Friday of support and then closed right back to this level range on the VIX. 10-year yield weekly, no changes. Once that downtrend was broken, market saw 3 straight weeks upside. And we mentioned this as always, we mention it on a daily basis in the news desk. One thing we watch on an indication in markets is your 10-year yield. 3 weeks of weakness, 3 weeks of strength on the yield. This is June. Once that downdraft happened, we saw the strength in markets. Once that downtrend was broken, on a technical view, we saw weakness in markets. So we're watching this level. We could have drawn an uptrend here. We're going to be waiting until next week to see how the yield markets perform going into the end of next weekend. Your Russell ETF IWM daily. One change, we added support levels at the 180s mark, currently trading. So we'll be watching this level of support. We didn't expect this 190 break that we saw last week to give us a $10 move in the IWMs, but we have it. That is support that we're watching currently at. We'll see how that impacts trading in the IWM and small cap names going into next week. HYG on a daily basis, back to support levels. Moving averages continue to trend on a bearish look. SPY daily, same thing. We are seeing a bearish activity with support levels in the 380 marks. Triple Qs, same thing as well. We are seeing support around 280 on the triple Qs. Negative moving averages continuing. We'll see how that impacts markets into the upcoming week. Oil on a daily. Last week, the chart explained itself. We are still in a tradable range of 85 to 95s. We saw this upside break last week on resistance on very little volume. The following day, we did see a reversal, which coincided with the 91 break support and the 85 test. So we are watching on a crude oil side basis, we are watching that 85 support level with the 95 upside tradable range. 85 support, there's basically nothing that we're going to be watching until maybe the 80s. And then you have nothing till the 70s. So we're watching this closely. Keep in mind, though, volume on the crude oil side is very key for any significant move in either direction. So if this does break, we are waiting to see the volume come in, or we will see a false break and a retest moving forward. So we'll be watching crude oil, commenting on the news desk. And as always, members, if anyone has any questions on the technical looks, we do not go over that a lot in the news desk too, because we are focusing on content-based information for our members, but we are always open to discuss a technical look on specific charts. If you are interested, you can always email us or shoot us a message on Ask the Desk. That's what we're there for. We're there to help you out or give you any insight into what we see at the desk. Continuing, the US dollar. No changes to the chart. This is one of the other charts that we watch that gives us an indication on market activity. Once that downtrend was broken, first of all, once support was tested and it didn't break, once that downtrend was broken on that support test, we saw strength hitting new highs. Currently on the US dollar, we are in this range that we'll be watching. 108, 108 level is that support. We'll be keeping a close eye on for a downside move. If we see that downside break, markets could react on a positive aspect. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the yield market, which we also believe, which we discussed from the beginning. Those two areas clearly can tell on a chart. The strength in those two areas give us the weakness we've been seeing in markets. So we'll be keeping a close eye on the US dollar daily. Bitcoin, what else can we say but trading right at levels? No changes to this chart. This chart has been like this for weeks. No changes and trading right at support. It's amazing to us how Bitcoin as well could be a technical market, but we'll see how and what happens if either this level is broken or this downtrend that stretches back to November is broken to the upside. We'll keep a close eye on Bitcoin and any impact that has, since in our opinion, speaking with traders, it can give you an indication in markets on a risk side basis. So we provide Bitcoin. It's the chart to us looks very technical, and we'll see how the correlation on these moves impact markets. That's the information we want to portray to our members, that the markets are being dictated by outside moves in regards to the US dollar, the 10-year yield. It used to be oil, but oil is not really an indication of markets anymore. We believe focusing right now, it's going to be your currency, your yield markets, especially with the Fed coming up later this month. So we're going to open it up, members, to any questions on anything regarding what we have on charts, about the TradeXchange service, the TradeX Plus service. If anyone has any questions, comments, it's open forum. Just write it in the news desk. And we're going to go quick mic silent if anyone has any questions for us. We'll leave it on the economic calendar. So we'll go quick mic silent. So one quick question, someone asked us our thoughts on the markets. So as we all know, we at the TradeXchange, we provide content for our members to help them benefit on their trading. When it comes to an overall market view, we provide our weekend webinar. We provide our weekend charts to give everyone an indication of what we're looking at, since a lot of the team at the TradeXchange were technical traders outside of option traders. So we like to give their interpretation in regards to what they're looking at on a technical market. Since we believe this market is very technical these days, we've been saying it for weeks on end. So we are watching on a technical aspect of what the market is showing us. Strength in the dollar, strength in yields, weakness across the board in outside markets. So that correlation alone, we believe, is one area that we are keeping a close eye on to give us an indication of market movement. This week, we do have a lot of Fed speakers, as you can see. So it'd be interesting to see their comments regarding last employment report. A lot of traders were mentioning a Goldilocks report. The question comes down to, what does the Fed say? What's Loretta Mester, Brainard, Bard, Powell, Evans? What are they going to say in regards to last week's report? And what are they going to say for future upcoming reports? That's what we're waiting for. That's what we believe is going to give you a directional move in markets, which, as always, gives somewhat of a directional move on individual names outside of news related. So if there are any more questions, we'll give it up for another minute or so. So I think that's it. We have one more question. Someone asked if we can have webinars just on technical. I'm guessing you mean technical analysis. If our members want it, we'll be more than happy to give you webinars on what we see on a more real-time look on technical analysis. We've been saying it for weeks on end. Like, I'll give you a perfect example, this US dollar, how technical this market has been when it comes to certain names. It is a technical market, a bounce support test. And keep in mind, members, this really hasn't been changed for weeks. Bounce support, break the downtrend, break resistance, broke resistance, tested resistance, ended right above resistance. So we are, if our members are interested, we'll actually send out a little survey this week. If people are interested, we'll be more than happy to offer a webinar, just throw out a webinar on a weekly or monthly basis on some names, individual stocks, areas, ETFs, on our views on a technical look. So we'll be we're looking to send that out sometime this week. And if anybody is interested, we'll always have that open for our members. Once again, want to thank everyone for joining us today on the weekend webinar. Keep in mind, as always, if you have any questions, you can email us, shoot us an email via Ask the Desk, which is in the news desk on the little tab bar up top. That's always live, real time during market hours. Keep in mind, members, markets are closed tomorrow for Labor Day. News desk will be open to get yourself ready for Tuesday. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your holiday, rest of the weekend. TradeXchange out.